bring it to the flow.
Silent grace, I'm never gonna be done. Lean on in. Now welcome to the kingdom.
Bonjour, you're watching Women's Wrestling Talk, the new #1 women's wrestling talk show on the planet. My name is TK Trinidad, aka the Canadian Assassin, and with me, I have two amazing co-hosts. First, she is Cat Mom #1. Please welcome Sarah the Rebel.
What it do? What it do?
And she hails from the Valley. She's Cat Mom #2. Please welcome Emily May.
Hi.
And I've been told that it's kind of, you'll see it throughout the other episodes. I guess everybody owns a cat in the next 4 episodes, and this amazing guest is no exception. She refers to herself, I have it as a note, she's a professional singer of cat meows. And the Killer Bay herself, please welcome Heather Monroe.
Hello. That is very accurate, by the way.
How are you doing?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. I mean, should I just defer it to Sarah and Emily so you guys can talk in the beginning so we can get it over with? Is there any cat questions?
I know everything about Heather's cats. We don't have any catching up to do. They're wonderful.
They're wonderful. Oh, the thing is, though, Max has gained some quarantine weight, which I thought was impossible because he was already a 20-pound cat. And now, today I said to my roommate, I was like, I think he got bigger. And she was like, he definitely did. And I'm like, oh no. I don't think he's running around as much.
Yeah, Bailey had lost some of his weight, and I think he's gained quite a bit back. But I'm so happy to hear that your cat is fatter than mine. So,
all right. So you guys are all caught up on your cat. Anything you want to add in, Emily, with your cat gaining weight?
I mean, I love cats, and she might jump on the call at some point, but
okay.
It's all good.
Well,
we have cat lady #3 now on Heather.
Yeah.
I literally, when you brought up my cats, I looked over and I'm like, I should grab her and bring her so that people can see her. Yeah, give me a second.
I mean, I think it's gonna happen anyway, and it's happening.
I derailed it again.
This is gonna be women's wrestling talk with Kat.
Yeah, Sarah and I just need our. Oh. I think she knew I was coming for her because she tried to run. She walked up to her. She's the only one that will let me hold her, and I really don't even want to try and hold my 20-pounder.
Wait, how many cats do you have?
This is Miss Elizabeth, by the way. Oh my gosh, that's perfect.
Yeah. How many cats do you have?
You're great. Love you. Bye. I have 2, Max and Miss Elizabeth.
Okay. All right. Well, there we go. So you didn't mention quarantine and how your cat gained weight during quarantine. But what have you been doing during this pandemic and this whole situation?
Well, so the beginning I was like, terror, lay in bed all day. And then I found video games again, which has been really fun. But except now I'm spending a lot of money that I don't necessarily have.
Is that like your favorite that you like got reacquainted with, or that you're started playing again?
Well, I got Red Dead Redemption 2, which was probably my favorite game that I've played so far. But I did just buy Ghost of Tsushima and Tony Hawk Pro Skater and The Avengers. So I'm playing all 3 currently. The Avengers is kind of at the top of my list because I used to play Marvel Civil War a lot, which I loved, but it's not like that. But that's kind of what I thought it was going to be like, but it's still fun.
So just to put a pin in it right here, for you guys who are wondering, why are they talking like they know each other? Heather has been on the show before on Women's Wrestling Weekly. So if you want to kind of get a very tense background, like, how she started and all this you want to go to that episode, because we're not going to do that right now because it's going to be boring for Heather and it'll probably be boring for us. So if you want to kind of know all the ins and outs, refer to that interview. We'll put it in the little tagline and you can click that and watch more of us. But currently we're talking about that video game.
All the wrestling things.
And wrestling things.
Okay, here's a wrestling thing I've done during quarantine. I got you. So I started watching old Attitude Era wrestling. Like, I was literally watching, I think from late 2001 Raws, and I watched just watched them in a row, and then I'd watch the pay-per-view, and then watch it in a row and watch the pay-per-view. And it's actually like really refreshing to go back and watch. And I remember these random matches that were like 5 minutes long, but I'm like, I remember this match happening. So I think that's kind of interesting, because obviously that was like when I first started watching wrestling.
Right.
And for me to remember those like tiny matches like Jeff Hardy versus Lance Storm, and I'm like, I remember how this match ends.
Right.
So it's so weird to me.
That's so
Did
funny.
it inspire you?
I've been doing the same thing, actually. And it's so funny, like, just seeing, like, why did I remember this as a kid? Why was this the moment that, like, stuck in my head? But there was so much stuff I didn't remember. Like, I didn't remember, actually, Shawn Michaels originally being in D-Generation. Like, I actually somehow missed that, or, like, you know? So it's, like, kind of fun to go back as an adult now and be like, you watched this descent into madness that is the Attitude Era.
Yeah.
Heather, is there something that like you watched recently that you were like, oh, I forgot how great this was? That's like your favorite?
Oh, well, I think watching, because it actually, where I started watching now is where I started watching kind of when I first watched wrestling. So that was also like kind of interesting. So it was the Hardy Boys when they broke up the first time, where it was like very dramatic soap opera storyline of Lita was stuck in the middle, and then she had to ref their match like at a pay-per-view, and she was totally torn, and like rewatching it I was like, this is good. I was like, I love this. I was like, this is the type of stuff that I love in wrestling, is like the kind of over the top dramatic, but you can kind of put yourself in their place type of stuff. It was not necessarily about fighting, but it was about like, you know, emotions and how it made you feel.
Yeah. I think that's always the strongest part of wrestling that people want to forget about. And we talk about it in other interviews too, is that the reason why fans are drawn to wrestling is not just the skill of somebody physically in the ring. It's also the skill of the story that they get you to care about the two people that are standing in the ring.
Yeah. So that was definitely fun to watch. And just rewatching now as a wrestler, what the women were doing back then, and you know how hard they were going, despite, I mean, they were definitely getting a little bit more time than like say the divas were, but they, like, you know, you had the workhorses like the Jackies and the Molly Hollies that, like, I liked them back then, but you know, obviously like Trish's and Lita's and like I loved Stacy Keibler. Stacy Keibler is probably one of the best managers of all time. I'm putting it out there. That's all I gotta say. Rewatch it and you'll agree. Because she knew what she was there to do, and she didn't think she was more than what she was. And I think that was like kind of I appreciate that about her, like watching now.
Okay, so we have the your cat gaining weight. We have video games. We have you watching old episodes. Now, from those old episodes, do you like see something and you're like, man, like when I get back in the ring or something, or like this is a good idea for something in the future? Do you see any, like, did it inspire you in any sort of way as far as storytelling?
Yeah, totally. I've definitely seen some stuff in like in a lot of the Molly Holly stuff, because I think I work a similar style to how she would work. She kind of had this American style, but also like a little bit of more like high flying stuff as well when she needed to. And then watching Jazz work now also was kind of, I was like, oh, she like knows exactly what she's doing. So I've taken some stuff from them that hopefully I'll be able to apply once wrestling is really up and moving again.
I think that was one of the most exciting things for me going back and watching, is everyone kind of talks a lot of smack about, you know, the women's wrestlers back then, but then you watch it and you're like, this was actually way better than I even expected it to be. Like, these women are so solid in their fundamentals. So even if they weren't allowed to do very cool, amazing moves off the top, if you watch their actual wrestling, like especially Molly Holly, like you said, you're just like kind of blown away at how solid they are and how much they get it. So I really enjoyed that part too. So with speaking of that and the relevance of women's wrestling right now, with the pandemic coming crashing down on all of us, you know, and everyone kind of having to take a break for a little bit, at least for wrestling, do you think it's hard to stay relevant and to stay a part of the wrestling industry when you're not actively wrestling? Like, how has that been for you?
I think I think it would be if you're not willing to do a lot on social media, because social media is, even when wrestling's happening, that's how people are getting their starts now, really. Like, so I think it's definitely hard, especially on the West Coast, to stay relevant, just because we don't have as much stuff like on, say, like IWTV that people can go and rewatch. I know that Hood Slam got some stuff put up on there, so there was like a lot of the glam stuff that got put up. But other than that, there wasn't a lot like that was in their catalog. And now obviously their shows starting to happen over on the East Coast, and you know, we're kind of out here literally in the dust. So yeah, I think social media is the only way to stay relevant during this time. And it's actually like my social media has gone way up since, like, especially on Twitter, but that's because I stopped caring about talking about politics. Because I used to not want to, because I was always told, like, that's just don't talk politics, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what? I don't care anymore. That's like what I'm passionate about. So
Right.
and that's when my numbers started like actually going up, and I'm like, well, all right.
That was me in posting sexy pictures on Instagram. I was like, you guys told me this wasn't what you wanted. Ugh.
Oh yeah, I never cared about that.
Yeah, you do that. Well, actually, the both of you. Y'all picture like, damn, okay, this what we do. We doing the sweater on the beach today. Okay, cool. This movie, I like it. I like it. You get some hand claps for that.
I've just been told for years that men were sick of seeing women doing this, doing that, so I never post that stuff on Instagram. And then I start posting it, and everything goes up, and I'm like, you dirty, rotten liars.
Well, even my the funny part about that is, like, even my interactions with other female wrestlers went up. Like, I feel like once I started to post more pictures of, just because I was more confident, that's why I started posting more pictures. Like, it was right after my breakup, and I felt good about myself. So that's when my social media started going up, and I would start like actually having like other female wrestlers be like, oh girl, you look so good, and like all this stuff, and like they're in my DMs being like, you look great, and I'm like, thanks guys. And so it's like my relationships with other female wrestlers got better because of that, which is funny.
Yep. Hilarious.
If you want to see sexy pictures, go to both their social media.
Were you nervous to start wrestling again, or to start dipping your toe in the water with the wrestling world after the pandemic?
Yes and no. I was really anxious to start training again. And unfortunately, like, MPW, which is where I got to go train, got closed down like pretty quickly after it got started. But I did turn down a couple of things that they wanted me to travel at first, kind of in June and July. I wasn't comfortable doing that yet, but now I'm feeling like everybody kind of has a little bit more control over what they can have control over. And I know I have control over like how I travel a little bit more too. So I'm a little bit more comfortable doing it now, but I was definitely hesitant at first to do shows, especially outside of California. Like, if there was some in California, like doing Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, which we just taped a bunch, I was totally good with that. There's no crowd. They made everybody get tested. They tested us at the door for temperatures and that kind of stuff. So I think people are just getting a better handle on it.
Yeah, what's interesting is, they're taking, like, I know Hollywood is taking like the New Japan model, because I know New Japan filmed a lot. And so we're learning a lot about like how to produce a wrestling show without an audience. And so it's a very different experience. And how is that experience for you to like do that without really an audience? And kind of
it was weird, but I think with Hollywood specifically, I felt comfortable just because I'm used to that room.
Exactly,
and
like it's the same setup.
And my character talks a lot anyways, and I was comfortable in what I was doing, and I'm really excited for both the matches that I've done that are coming up, but one specifically kind of towards the end that I was really proud of, and it was a long one, and I was like huffing and puffing towards the end, but that was really easy at Hollywood. When I did AEW, the dark match, the Dynamite match had fans. That was their first time using people, and so that was like a breeze, and I got to be who I was. Doing the dark match, there's nobody there. I was a good guy, and I was like, oh God. And so that was a lot harder for me, because I think you look for more validation as a good guy, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I was in a new place, in a bigger space. Like, that place is huge. So I think in a bigger space, it's a lot harder to like kind of feel how it's actually going.
Yeah. How did you like mentally prepare for that, for the AEW dark match, and how did you have to shift kind of how you looked at things from previous matches?
I honestly didn't think too much about it going in, as far as like, oh, there's not going to be a crowd, because they do have people sitting at ringside, and I had a couple of familiar faces that were at ringside, so that helped. But it's going to be nerve-wracking no matter what. But I kind of just went into it the same way I normally do. I'm always like really nervous when I first have to go out, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I know what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
Definitely. How did that come about, the AEW stuff? That was so awesome to see you.
I know, it was amazing. It was so exciting. I think we all were screaming.
Yeah. I just went out there and trained with them, and kind of earned my spot in that way. So I felt pretty good about that. I talked to Jake Atlas about it, and he kind of pushed me to take another step, because that's just the type of person that he is.
He's
and
awesome.
Yeah, he's always there to push people. He's been pushing me about other stuff recently too, and I'm like, yeah, okay, fine, I'll do it. But yeah, so I kind of did that, and then got to spend the week with him, which was nice. But went down there, trained with the girls, and trained with Dustin Rhodes, and it was really, really nice to like be training again. Mm-hmm. And B, just kind of show what I was made of, because I'm really confident in my training and who I am when I'm training. So I think I earned that spot on Dynamite, and I felt good about it.
That part.
Was there anything, when you went out there and did some training, was there anything new that you learned that kind of helped guide you to that big match?
I mean, yeah, that was obviously like learning under like Dustin Rhodes is training, and then Medusa was there too. So like having two like great minds for wrestling, just like little things, there was a bunch of stuff that they said that I kind of like absorbed in, and different drills that they did that were interesting that I'd never done before. So it was definitely very helpful.
So now you've done AEW. I know you've done Ring of Honor in the past. You've done WWE. Have you done Impact as well, I think? Yeah.
Yeah.
So NWA is kind of a thing. So like, where do you see Heather? I see you've been tweeting like that you're tired of being underappreciated. So like, what is the goal? Where do you see yourself going next? What's the plan?
Honestly, like, I just want to make a living wrestling. I think I would prefer to be somewhere where I can do TV regularly, because I think that that's like definitely one of my main goals, is to get on that level. And I went to school for theater. Like, it's totally always been like part of what I wanted to do. But I'd be happy anywhere, like just getting to do my thing, honestly. And I think each company has something different to offer in that regard.
So you said what you wanted to do, but like, this is very conservative. Let's say like
because I would never say I want one specific place, like, because that's just not true.
It's not necessarily one. So let me just get this, because I think I said this last time you were on the show. So wherever you put in the universe, we kind of like, the show makes it happen. So you're saying that like, no matter where you are, that's fine, but it's more like on TV on a regular basis. That's kind of the goal, as like, and you're being appreciated by that promotion that you're with.
Right. Yeah, totally.
All right. I just want to, making sure that
yes.
Putting it into the universe.
Yeah, correctly. Because it's like, well, you can be anywhere on TV, and it could be in like Saudi Arabia. I don't think you want that. So,
they wouldn't like me there.
Although that is an interesting question. I think you were maybe going to go to Europe before coronavirus, if I remember correctly. Where, if besides the U.S., where would you like to wrestle?
I mean, obviously Japan would be one of the main places I would love to wrestle in, just like learning wise. I think that would be really awesome to just learn different ways to train, because I've done like seminars with Aja Kong, and that was really interesting. She just trained us the way that they do with the Japanese girls there. So I think Japan for sure would be really interesting. And then over in the UK, I would love to wrestle around there too, because I think there's a lot of good girls over there.
Is there anybody that you want to wrestle that you haven't wrestled yet?
This is such a hard question because there's just so many. But I'll speak on UK girls. Giselle Shaw. I would love to work with her. I think she's so amazing.
That would be amazing.
Yeah, I think that we could have a really fun match. So definitely her. Like, now I'm thinking of all the UK girls that I like, Zoe Lucas and Charlie Evans, like all those girls that are really. Oh, I have wrestled Charlie before, but in a tag team match.
Is there any other ones?
In general, like talking, if I can wrestle anybody, I've always wanted to wrestle Chris Bay. We were supposed to wrestle before the pandemic happened, so I'd really love to get to work with him. Hyann, Lainey Luck, who else? Will Allday. There's just like a long list of people.
That's smart. Go.
So you have a lot of like great feuds with people, you know, that like, especially you just put out recently a promo. I don't know how recently it'll be when this video goes up, but promo package, with Camille. Like, you're so great at these videos. Is there someone that you've had your favorite feud with? Was there a favorite feud of yours that you can think of?
Ooh. I've always really enjoyed the stuff that I got to do with Sandra at Championship Wrestling from Hollywood, because I like working with her, and I think that she is an easy person for my character to play off of. So it worked really well how we were able to feud. But also, I would say the stuff I'm doing with Lacey right now I've really enjoyed. Oh, and my stuff at Glam with Aaliyah Mia Garcia. That was fun too.
You have a lot of feuds going on.
I do, because I like stories.
I know, and you're building these like incredible stories online, and then it like translates to the ring. Is there any feuds percolating that we need to know about that might be coming down the line, or anything? Anyone that you are like gonna challenge, that you might in the future want to challenge?
Not that I can think of, because the only places that I really get to do a lot of storyline stuff is like Hollywood and Glam.
Yeah.
I did have a really fun thing that was going to be happening at Santino's though, that I was really excited about, because they were like, if you want to cut a promo before your match, like just cut a promo. And then I went out and like probably cut one of my most favorite promos of all time. And that kind of made Joey's head start turning, like, oh, maybe we could do some stuff here. And so there was like a little story that had led up to me wrestling Ray for the title. That was supposed to happen. I don't know if I should cut that out or not.
I mean, girl, it might happen 3 years from now, so I think it's totally fine.
I know.
Yeah, I think it's fine. We're
But yeah, so like I was really excited for that, just because it was kind of a thing that was a little true to life, because I've always tried to prove myself like to be of the same quality of the men in Santino's, and it's not like they've ever held me back. They've always really like pushed me and gave me opportunities, but I don't think they ever saw me in that way until I cut that promo. And I was honestly like, I had gotten like, there was just like a switch that happened like a few months prior to that was like, I was having some of the best matches of my career, and I had a really good match with Andy that night. So I think that there was like a kind of switch that happened that was like, oh, maybe we see her differently now.
I mean, just as I have this shirt from when I first started wrestling.
Yes.
It's a Killer Bay shirt for anyone that can't see it because I don't know if it's going to be backwards. But as someone who has watched you over 3 years, I can say without a doubt you are currently performing at the best I've ever seen you, and you reached that new level. You know, like your lucha skills and your character work was always like great, but like you've just like gone next level. I think you're right.
Thank
like you. I'm, like you're correct in your assertion that you slept on right now, because I think you're right that people are thinking of the old Heather, but that Heather's dead. No, I'm just kidding. She's still alive. But you know, like people need to watch what you're doing right now. They need to watch your most current stuff. They need to check out your reel that you posted, because you're not the same Heather Monroe you were 3 years ago.
No, yeah. and I think like I try not to I'm very confident in myself. I've always been very confident in myself, and I try and toe the line to not be arrogant or like egotistical or whatever, but I'm a Taurus. I have a lot of pride. So like I know how good I am, and I know that people aren't seeing that. So I remember somebody said to me, and I think he meant it as a compliment, and I think a lot of fans say this too, and like, oh, you're like the hidden gem of SoCal or of blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's not good. Like, that's actually not a good thing. Like, I want to be out there in the world doing the stuff that I see other people doing, that I know that I can be in that same level. So I kind of flipped a switch in that regard too during this pandemic, because I'm so sick of sitting at home. But I was like, I know I'm good, and now everybody needs to know I'm good too.
I like it.
I know, that's so incredible, because I've watched you at Hollywood over the years too, and like to see your journey is absolutely incredible. And I know that you're gonna like continue to grow and like reach incredible heights, and I'm so excited to just like continue to watch it. Very
true. So like we're currently in quarantine. It's gonna change slightly, but our normal is not gonna be our normal. What do you hope to see? Like, we know what, as far as being in television and stuff like that, but where do you hope to see wrestling is going to be? Because it was kind of shut down for a long period of time, and now it's kind of slowly coming back, but there's no audience and stuff like that. Do you like think that, you know, what WWE is doing with like the Thunderdome is a good concept, or what do you hope to see as far as like your wrestling career and wrestling in general?
Yeah, I think the virtual fans is good, but not, you know, that's going to be really hard to do on a lower level. I think the way that the companies right now out on the East Coast and stuff are doing like outdoor wrestling, and like kind of the spread out stuff like that, obviously that's not necessarily doable all year round for them. It would be out here in California. But I think like that's kind of the future of like maybe just less people, the masks, like being really cautious, like with sanitizing in between matches. I think that's going to be the future for at least the next couple years.
Yeah, what do you think of that? That's like, you know, obviously we saw WWE didn't shut down, but just being a wrestler, like what, like as far as kind of getting back in the ring and, you know, having the temperatures checked, but still you're like up on somebody. It's not like, okay, well, you know, we're just talking. You know, what's your assessment? Is like, okay, well, they're doing everything possible. Now I'm being safe, and the person I know is wrestling, you know, is being safe. Or what's your thought process with that?
That's kind of the main thing. I'm like, I kind of assess it based off of if I know the people at the promotion and kind of am a little bit more aware of that. Like, I have a show on the 26th in Beaumont for Hurricane Pro. I've worked with them a bunch before. I'm comfortable with the people that run it, and they've told me what they're going to do. And I'm wrestling Taya, who I literally hang out with all the time. She's like in my bubble. So I was like, easy. That's no brainer. Yeah, I'll go work with her. But if I had to go work, like somebody, another wrestler, Ruby, reached out to me the other day, and she was like, people want me to wrestle 3 random girls. What should I do? And I said, I wouldn't do that. Like, if it's 3 random girls, I'm not comfortable with that.
Right. Okay.
I don't know where they've been. Or what they've been doing. I know how I've been taking care of myself. I test myself regularly because I'm paranoid. So I test myself like every 2 weeks at least. And there's two people in my little quarantine bubble that get tested every week. So I'm like, oh wow. Yeah, because they work for, you know, like John works for WWE, and
okay, gotcha.
So it's like people that are already getting tested. So it's like if they had it, I would have it, so on and so forth.
Yeah, I mean, now, like, thinking about it from a production side, like, we're going to have to continue to think about, like, people are slowly going back to TV tapings and stuff, and, like, you're going to have to regularly, I think this is going to start being a regular thing where wrestlers are, like, even a year from now, we're going to have to get tested before, until there's a vaccine. I think we're going to have to come up with these precautions. It's a different world.
Yeah, and I think testing is way, like, that's the best way right now for us to take care of each other. Like, testing and obviously, like, wearing the mask and, like, staying as safe as possible. But a vaccine might never happen. Like, a real good vaccine, they've not found one for SARS in general, ever.
That's true.
So it's like, I'm not putting all my eggs into the vaccine basket. I would rather have rapid testing and, like, find a treatment that works.
And have it available for everyone, like, easy access to it all.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of rapid testing, we're going to go to rapid hot tag.
Oh, I see what you did there.
Oh,
good transition.
So for you guys who are watching for the first time, which you shouldn't be, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask Heather a question. She's going to say the first thing that comes to her mind.
Don't be embarrassing.
Everybody does that. It's not that bad.
I'm embarrassing and I overshare. Oh, no. Sarah knows this.
Your favorite quarantine snack.
Favorite quarantine snack? Peanut butter M&Ms.
Oh, so good.
The caramel one. Have you tried those ones?
Which ones?
The caramel ones.
Oh yeah, those ones are good too. But
those ones are good.
Have you guys had the Nutella? There's Nutella or hazelnut.
Oh no.
Yeah,
this is not how rapid hot tags work.
I know, right? Sorry, my bad.
This is rapid.
Back to it. Do you prefer to work out at home or at the gym?
At the gym.
Cooking. Do you prefer cooking at home or ordering out?
Cooking at home.
Cooking out. Ordering out.
Cooking at home.
Oh, cooking at home. I was like, what is that? If you could wake up tomorrow having gained one quality or ability, what would it be?
Oh my god. Oh my god. I don't know. That's a hard one. Are we talking like superhero abilities or are we talking in general abilities?
Both. Whatever comes to your mind.
Oh my gosh. I would, oh my gosh, what do I want my, this is a hard question. I think I'd want the ability to teleport.
Okay, I like it. What in your life are you grateful for?
The good group of people that I've surrounded myself with in my life.
And if you were able to live to the age of 90 and retain either the mind or the body of a 30-year-old for the last 60 years of your life, which would you want?
Probably the mind.
Oh,
dementia would be bad.
I love this question because I love that you could never tell ahead of time which one you're going to get.
Yeah, now that you say that, the dementia.
See, that's what I was on. I was on that train.
Listen, I get it. I might have dementia, but I want to be hot.
with dementia.
But you won't know what to do with the hot body.
I need to know what to do. I just need to be hot.
Now you're swaying me back to your side, Sarah. So
come back, TK. Come back to the body.
No, come back, TK.
It wasn't that bad, Heather. We really appreciate you for joining us and all the amazing things that you've done. I don't even want to say this is the beginning because you've been killing it. So you just could kill it more. If that makes sense.
Thank you. I'm trying.
Not to be at the top, but notice her. So just in case you're not following Heather, where can everybody follow you?
Heather is me on Twitter and Instagram, and that's kind of it. I don't even really pay attention to Facebook.
Yeah, I do watch your. It's so funny speaking the bubble. So I do see, like, I follow Taya and I follow you, and I could tell which female wrestlers or just which people in general and who's in whose bubble, and it's like you can kind of tell. So I did kudos. I love Taya. She's amazing. She's
one of my favorite humans.
And her clothing line, oh my god, to die for.
Oh, new launch coming in October, guys.
Yeah, the stuff is amazing.
And it's stuff she designed coming up. I'll brag about her for days.
Yeah, the stuff is amazing. I need to hit her up because it's amazing. Anyways, the show, we won't continue on with that. But thank you so much for joining us, Sarah the Rebel, Cat Mom number 1. Where can everybody find you?
You just skipping the star of the week?
Oh, damn.
Ooh, get on it. Today's star of the week is Roxy, debuting at 17 for Booker T's Reality of Wrestling, where she won the Raw Diamonds Division Championship. Roxy already has an amazing resume. The 18-year-old prodigy has worked for Rise, AEW, Sabotage, Shimmer, Hurricane Pro, and more. She also bravely spoke up during wrestling's #SpeakingOut movement, showing that the next generation of wrestlers in this industry are on the right track. We can't wait to see where their soon-to-be superstar ends up. Be sure to follow her at _Roxy. Tell her that Women's Wrestling Talk sent you. And if you want to learn more about another Star of the Week, please hit us up. Tell us who you want to hear about for a future Star of the Week segment that TK will not forget about.
And watch my match with Roxy on Title Match Network. It's a really good match.
Boom. That time.
Yes.
I won't forget about it.
2 drops.
Maybe not for the next 3 times. We'll see. But let's bring it all back again. Just in case you guys didn't know, where can everybody follow you?